Welcome, welcome everyone. Good day to you, no matter what part of the world you might be in. It is always a treat to see you and to have this chance to practice together. And I'm Dhammadipa, and this is the Sunday Sounds of Dhamma program. So as usual, we're going to begin with about a 10-minute guided meditation. And then I'll offer a Dhamma talk for about 30 minutes, and then we'll have a bit of time at the end for questions and reflections, corrections, and any other things you want to share. So, and before I get started, I just want to also mention that right now tomorrow we will have the second of the Introduction to Zen, but the registration is still open till today. So if you want to catch up, you can join that class at San Francisco Zen Center website is the registration form. And November 24th, we will be having a precept ceremony. We will be having at least one or maybe two people who will be taking up the Bodhisattva precepts and making a commitment, a lifetime, and even beyond this lifetime commitment to the Dhamma and the Buddha and the Sangha. And Jesse's actually one of those people if he gets his sewing done. So, yeah. And everyone's welcome to join us for that. It'll be also hybrid. So, November 24th. Beautiful. So, let's go ahead and begin to settle into our relaxed and upright meditation posture. Relaxing the belly and really allowing the body to settle right here in this place at this time. And slowly bringing the attention up the torso. Allowing the spine to come into alignment. And perhaps the muscles of the chest and the back can just relax and soften. Softening the eyes, softening the mouth. And turning the attention to the sensations of hearing. No need to strain in any way. Just aware of sounds arriving in awareness. Being curious about the sensations of sound. Noticing the arising, the presence, and the cessation of sound. All sorts of other sensations might be arising, but the attention is resting on the sensations of hearing sound. All right, friends, that brings us to the end of the meditation portion of the program. Excuse me. Beautiful. So I will move right into the talk. And if you have any questions or reflections about the meditation, we can talk about that after the talk. Beginning, as always, with the homage to the Buddha and the Triple Gem. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Excuse me. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. Excuse me. So please go ahead and mute your mics if you haven't already, except for Claudia G, who's doing interpretation. One idea that might bring us to the practice, bring us to the study and the practice of Buddhism is a kind of idealism, is a kind of hope for a better inner world, a better outer world. Belief maybe that there is something right that can be discovered. There is something beautiful that can be found in our lives. And yet alongside that kind of idealism, sometimes what I hear is the belief that unless we are perfect, we cannot actually benefit from the path. That we have to have perfect ethics or perfect non-attachment or perfect understanding of non-self before insight will unfold for us, will arise in our knowing. And so today I wanted to talk a little bit about practice in lay life as a way of sort of looking head on at that set of ideals and how it is or is not expressed in the old teachings and how that might be relevant to your lives today. And I myself have practiced in a lot of different modalities. I was a lay person for about 20 years before I ordained as a nun back in 2007. And even as an ordained person, I've practiced in a lot of different modalities. So hopefully that brings a little bit of room for exploring different ways of doing things. So I want to speak today a little bit about a laywoman. Her name is Deepa Ma. Deepa Ma. And Deepa Ma's story came to the United States, as far as I know, because of some experiences that some very well-known American teachers of Buddhism had with her. Jack Kornfield, Sharon Salzberg, Joseph Goldstein, and many other names that you might recognize are people who actually met Deepa Ma and practiced with her. And her name means the mother of Deepa. So she, just to tell you a tiny bit about her story. So there's this lovely book called Knee Deep in Grace. It's a very small book, as you can see here. And it's a lovely, lovely book, a little bit about her life story, a little bit about people telling about their encounters with her and some of the teachings that she shared with them. But she was born in 1911 in East Bengal near the Burmese border, or the border with what we now call Myanmar. And long story short, she was the eldest of 6 children. She was married. She had many children, but I believe that part of her story is that all but one of them died. And that was Deepa, her daughter, Deepa. And she was the mother of Deepa, and she, is that correct? Well, in any event, I'm not sure about all of them, but I know that she lost some children, for sure. And then she gave birth to Deepa, and Deepa means light. And her son, actually, Bijoy, also lived. So she had had a lot of joys and a lot of sorrows in her life, and she had a very kind of typical housewife life. And she was experiencing a lot of suffering, though, a lot of suffering in her body, a lot of depression, anxiety. She had a very difficult time. And then at one point, she decided to go on a meditation retreat, and it didn't go very well, actually. That first meditation retreat in Rangoon was where she was. And but then she met Anagarika Munindraji, as he's sometimes known. And Anagarika it means a non-householder, but is a lay person. So oftentimes they are dressed in white, and someone who has committed their life to the path, but is still not ordained. And that means they can handle money and take care of other things for themselves, but their life is committed fully to the path. And because of her practice with Anagarika Munindra, she actually had very, very profound insights, very, very profound wisdom. But she's very no-nonsense also. She's very, she's able to attain incredible meditation states and such. But she would tell people very practical things. Like there's a point at which she gave a teaching to another woman who was a housewife who said, I just don't have time to practice. And she said, well, that sensation of the baby breastfeeding, you could just focus on that sensation and let that be a meditation. And so she was very clear that profound states of awakening are possible within a lay life. So, and this is, you could say, in some ways, it's not that exceptional. I mean, she was exceptional in the sense that she really inspired many people, and she had incredible powers, actually. It's said that she had incredible both meditative powers and sort of the other side effects that come with that, some of the other side effects that come with that. But the practice within the lay life is not that exceptional, even though we often are hearing about ordained people when we hear the teachings that have been written down or that have been carried over time. So kind of as a precursor to Dipa Ma, I want to mention one other story of a woman, which is from the Pali Suttas. And this is a story of Nakula Mata. Nakula Mata. So Mata means mother, and Nakula was the person whose mother she was. So we have Nakula Mata and Nakula Pita, so the father. And they were householders in the Buddha's time. And she actually is named by the Buddha as the foremost in trustworthiness. So, the Buddha in the Anguttara Nikaya, in the numbered discourses, he gives he holds up different practitioners in the Sangha as being the best or the foremost at this and that. And so there's a list of bhikkhus who were the foremost of various and sundry things. And then there's a list of bhikkhunis, nuns, who were the best at various and sundry things, the foremost. And then he comes to the lay people. And he names Nakula Mata as the foremost in trustworthiness. And it's because, and so they were a couple. She was married to this person, Nakula Mata, as they understood it at that time. And they were definitely householders. They were not monastics of any sort or living in a monastery of any sort. And they'd had various interactions with the Buddha. They were very supportive of the Buddha and they received teachings from him. But the sutta that I'm talking about here is Anguttara Nikaya 6.16. So this is from the Book of Sixes, the 16th sutta. And it tells a story about Nakula Mata's husband, right? Nakula's father is very sick, gravely ill. And she says to him, do not die full of concern, because to die full of concern is painful. And the Buddha has advised against it. To die full of concern is a painful experience, a lot of suffering. And the Buddha has advised against it. And then she goes through a series of things and she says, maybe you're worried about this or maybe you're worried about that. So first of all, he says, maybe you're worried that I won't be able to support the kids and maintain the household after you're gone. But don't worry, she says, don't worry. I'm very skilled at weaving cotton and knitting wool, and I'll be able to support the kids and take care of the household. And then she says, but maybe you think I'll take another husband. And she says, well, we've been celibate for a while, so don't worry, I won't be taking another husband. Now that's a choice. I don't want to criticize anybody who has lost their partner and then gone on to remarry. Of course, that's really a beautiful choice that you can make in your life. But in this case, she wants to reassure him that that he doesn't need to worry about her romantic life after he's gone. And then she says, okay, and maybe you think Nakula Mata will not want to see the Blessed One, the Buddha, and the Sangha after you're gone. But that's not true either. Actually, I will be even more I will be even more keen to see the Buddha and the Sangha after you're gone. And then she says, maybe you think that I won't fulfill good ethics, that I won't be virtuous in some way. I might make bad choices with my life after you're gone. And she says, I'm actually one of the female disciples who is fulfilling ethical behavior. And if anyone is concerned about that, they can go ask the Buddha. Wow, so she calls the Buddha as her witness to the fact that she's living an upright life. She's making good choices and will continue to make good choices. Why? Because she understands the value of that for herself, right? It's not that she is dependent on her husband's understanding for that. And then she says this, she says, maybe you think that Nakula Mata, that I will not obtain internal serenity of mind. Ceta Samatha, internal peace of mind or tranquility of mind. She says, but actually I am one of the female lay disciples who has already attained tranquility of mind. And if anybody's worried about that, they could go ask the Buddha. So she, by her practice of virtue and by her practice clearly of meditation, has experienced the fruits of the practice and is trying to help her husband to be not worried about her practice. Don't worry about my practice. My practice is strong. My practice is fine. You have nothing to worry about with regards to me. And then she makes one last statement to him, pardon me. And she says, maybe you think that I have not attained a foothold or an assurance in this Dhamma and discipline, not crossed over doubt, not been rid of bewilderment, as this is Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation I'm reading from, not attained self-confidence and become independent of others. But you should not look at the matter in this way, because I am one of the Buddha's female lay disciples who have already attained a foothold and assurance in the Dhamma and discipline. I am one who has crossed over doubt and gotten rid of bewilderment and attained self-confidence and become independent of others in the teacher's teaching. So this statement that she has gone beyond doubt is a very, very strong statement. I mean, in a conventional sense, it's beautiful because, again, she's saying to him, no need to worry, really. No need to worry about me. My practice is strong. I know where I'm headed. I feel confident about that. But also that is a very particular kind of statement. That's a reference, actually, to becoming a stream enterer. So when the first stage of awakening, as it's understood in the early suttas, occurs, then one is said, among the many changes that happen, one is said to drop off all doubt about the path, because you have seen for yourself, actually, the efficacy of the path. You have seen for yourself that it actually works. So she makes a very, very powerful statement to her husband and says, don't worry about me in any of these ways. So one part of this beautiful message of this sutta is about unfinished business, right? That if we have unfinished business in our lives, that can weigh on us at the time of our passing, when we're getting close to death, if we are afforded the opportunity of being able capable of reflection at that point. Sometimes it doesn't happen like that. But if you do, then that would be something that you want to take care of. Their unfinished business becomes very urgent and can be a real source of agitation for people. I've seen this myself in the hospital, actually. But also our unfinished business can be problematic for other folks too, right? Other folks who care about us, they have their own worries, and we can't control their worries in any way, but we can certainly do our best to help resolve concerns for them to the extent that we can. We can be clear and communicate our care and our having taken care of our own business. That's a help to others, as a support to others. And more specifically about Nakulamata, so what happens here in the sutta is quite interesting. Let me finish the rest of the sutta and then I will say a little bit more about her specifically. So what happens is very interesting, because what happens is that she again says, don't die full of concern. To die full of concern or worries is painful, and it has been criticized or has been advised against by the Buddha. And then it says in the sutta, so while the householder Nakulapita, so her husband, was being exhorted in this way by the housewife Nakulamata, right? Because that is what she's doing. She's really, right, encouraging him to find peace in his heart. Not encouraging him to die, but encouraging him to find his own peace in his heart. His ailments subsided on the spot. He recovered from that illness. And that is how his illness was cured. So something about, to me, it's kind of an implication like maybe there was some stress that was really weighing on him terribly, or maybe there was something, very emotional that was happening for him that was really part of the problem that he was experiencing physically. And we know that those things do happen, right? That our mental states affect our bodily states and vice versa. But then he went and approached, leaning on a staff, so he's definitely not, genki, as we would say in Japanese. He's definitely not extremely well, but he's well enough to get around. And so leaning on a staff, he approaches the Buddha. And he sits down, he pays homage to the Buddha and sits down to one side. So respectfully, he comes, he sits down. And before he even says anything, at least according to what's been recorded here in the sutta, the Buddha turns to him and says, it is truly your good fortune and gain, householder, that the housewife, Nakulamata, has compassion for you, desires your good, and exhorts and instructs you. She is one who fulfills virtuous behavior, who has obtained internal serenity of mind, who has attained a foothold, a firm stand, and has crossed over doubt and become independent of others in the teacher's teaching. It is truly good for you that she has compassion for you. So he affirms everything that she said. He affirms that that what she's doing is a helpful thing, and that she actually has these deep practice experiences. And so the interesting thing that I want to note about Nakulamata is that besides these deep practice experiences, she is living a traditional lay life at that time, right? She has a husband, they live in a house, they have kids, they probably by this point also have grandkids. Unless Nakula turns out to be a monk. I'm not really sure exactly about the backstory of Nakula. I couldn't find it in any of the materials that I looked for. But she's probably doing the cooking and the cleaning and so on, and they, you know, are taking care of each other. And that doesn't in any way obstruct her. That isn't a problem for her complete confidence in the path, for her attaining a state of internal serenity of mind. Think about that for a moment. We have so many excuses about why we can't have peace of mind. Because the TV, because the phone, because my person needs me, because my dog needs me, because of my job, because of climate change, because, I mean, seriously, folks, are these problems? Yes, we all have problems. That is the nature of samsara. That is the nature of our lived experience of a world that is impermanent and that has dukkha and that is impersonal in a way that will never actually satisfy our personal desires. That is the nature of the life. And that does not obstruct you in any way. Why? Because, as I tell you every week, I would tell you again this week, because the principles of reality are right here in this body, in this mind, in this world that you're living in. So the baby nursing can equally wake you up. Or sweeping the leaves. Right? There's a beautiful story of a Chinese Chan monk, a monk who, after many, many years, I think it's a couple of decades, practicing with his very revered, esteemed teacher, decides that it's not working. He gets totally fed up. No, I'm leaving the monastery because I'm just not cut out for this. Nothing is happening. And then what does he do? He says, I'm just going to live a quiet life. I'm going to go live in my hut. I'm just going to live a quiet life and relax and not worry about the Dharma or trying to wake up or any of that, you know? And so then one day he's there and he's sweeping the porch of his hut, and the hut is supported by these bamboo poles. The front porch is supported by these bamboo poles. And he is sweeping the porch, and then the little pebble hits one of the bamboo poles that are the supports of the front of the porch. And it goes knock, if any of you have ever heard it. There's a particular kind of knock or sound that the bamboo, hollow bamboo would make. And boom, he wakes up. He has a profound awakening, a life-changing insight, an insight that completely shatters all of his delusions about life. Just the sound. So maybe you think that you get bored or it's a waste of time to sit on your meditation cushion and listen to sound, as we did a few moments ago. Right? But that very phenomena could be the one. So lay life is not a problem. The problem is our relationship to the experiences that we have. The problem is our saying, I don't want this. It shouldn't be like that. cracks me up because, you know, somebody wanted to make a lovely gift for some travels that I was going to be doing. And so they gave me a pair of these noise canceling headphones to wear on the plane. And I thought, you know, I don't think I need noise canceling headphones. I think I should be okay with whatever sound is happening on the plane. Or I could be, without a should in there. I could be. Or for me, sometimes it smells. Oof, nasty smells. Right? But I could be. It could be just okay that way. Or just the thing that I have to meet, whether it's okay or not. So think about your life and try to put in the conditions that will support you to be fully present with what is. Whatever supports you to be fully present with what is. That's enough. Thank you. All right, so that is what I wanted to share with you today. And now we have some time for any kinds of reflections, corrections. I apologize for the first part there about Deepa Ma's kids. I I will do a little bit more homework on it and see if I come back with a little bit more specific information.
Aya, you said you're going to give us the backstory about Nakula Mata.
Well, no. I mean, the backstory is that she was living a householder life. She was living, you know, a perfectly, you know, what was at that time in the Buddha's, you know, in 6th century India, a normal lay householder life. Yeah, that was the backstory. That's the only backstory that I know actually about Nakula Mata. And again, I went and looked for some further information, but there isn't any, other than the fact that they did, interestingly, the reason why we know that they had, one of the reasons why we know that they had some care for each other, this couple, is because they actually said to the Buddha at one point in a different sutta that they never transgressed each other even in their thoughts. So something like they wouldn't harm each other even in their thoughts. So they really cared about each other also. It wasn't like she was saying, you know, go on, guy, be gone with you, you know. They really did love each other and have a household life. Any other reflections or questions?
It's just very helpful and encouraging. So thank you for this teaching today.
Okay. Glad to hear it, Emily. That's always, as I often say, a lot of my energy comes from mudita, from empathetic joy, knowing that you are on the path and that something that we're doing here at Dassanaya is helpful. Okay, well, it seems like, oh, Claudia, espérate, déjame quitar la interpretación. Okay.
Yeah, just to, yeah, thank you for the teaching, and so we don't, like, I don't have any more excuses. This is a teaching of you shouldn't have any excuse. But I'm yeah, Deepa Ma is someone that inspired me. I already read the book, but I also don't remember. I think her husband died, and a son, another son or something, you know. But it also something that is always in my mind about her, and I think a lot of the days I meditate, not every day, but a lot of the time, is the fact that she was very ill. She had a lot of problems, you know, physical problems, and she meditated and meditated, and then eventually she overcome most of them. And I always wonder, you know, I always wonder, like, what kind of mind what kind of serenity you have to have for getting to that point where you overcome all your somatization, you know, all these somatic things. But I still insist in the cushion.
Yes.
So thank
No, it's
you.
very impressive, right? It's very impressive to think about the power of the mind over the body's well-being, and I also think that there is some, you know, some positive energy that's released, that can be released in the meditation.
Yeah, you know that my main, well, just quickly, you know that I'm focusing more now in the menopause stage with women, and I'm doing work in that area. But I've been really reflecting, you know, because last year, as you know, my mom was sick. But I don't know, I got to a point where I think I said that I felt for the first time like a very deep compassion when I was with her. And even though she was in the hospital, and it was I wasn't tired, I was not burned out. I was actually, and I'm in the perimenopause, and I was actually very, very balanced, you know, and that amazed me a lot. I'm like, yeah, I think part of what our imbalances are is that we're not living in that compassion state. We're living in other states of mind that make us very ill.
Yes. Yes, I totally agree, Claudia. And you know, for me, what it reminds me of is, you know, to the extent that, and I'm not trying to criticize you in any way, but in general, I think that to the extent that we are caught up in our self-concern, we are spending a lot of energy in that. We're really investing a lot of energy in emotions and the self-concern and the roller coaster. And when that, you know, just as you said, something beautiful happens where the compassion comes forth and there's this focus on, you know, your mom's well-being, and then suddenly it's like, oh, yes, right, you know, it frees up also some energy that you can turn to that. Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you, Aya.
Thank you. Okay, Dana, I think probably you have an announcement for us.
All right. The practice of giving and receiving has been a part of Buddhism since its inception. Giving to Dassanaya Buddhist Community supports our guiding teacher, Dhammadipa, the physical location at the vihara, and allows us to continue to offer Buddhist teachings in support of the awakening of all beings. Visit our donate and giving pages to offer financial, material, or volunteer supports. You'll find out these good buttons on the website, and on the lower on the website is also a place to sign up for email newsletters where you get notices of meditation class and retreat schedules. We're very grateful to have you here today, and also for the donations. The fall fundraiser is going on, and so that makes it extra groovy to donate. Thank you.
Extra groovy. Nice. I like it. I like it. So yes, thank you for that, Dana.
You're welcome.
Thank you to everyone who offers supports in all the many, many, many ways. Presence and financial and material and food and well-wishing and all sorts of other wonderful ways that people offer support. I am incredibly grateful. We literally could not do this without you. One thing I do want to say before I do the dedication of merit is, so my thesis is up on the website, and actually all of the papers that I've written for the whole year-long program of master's degree in Buddhist art history and Buddhist heritage conservation are all up there on the blog of the website. For folks who need it in Spanish, you may be able to see it in Spanish. I'm not sure, but I will. Maybe somebody will help me. Maybe somebody will volunteer to help me make a Spanish translation of the thesis, and that would be a project. That would be next year's project. And but I do want to say it's generally out there, and I'm happy to share that. And also, starting in, I think it's December or November, December, I'll be offering some workshops about all the things that I've learned and that the Sangha has helped to support me to learn, because it's really a beautiful way. It's not just about the visual. Actually, somebody said that the other day, and I thought, well, it's not really just about the visual or the aesthetic, although that is also wonderful. It's actually about connecting with the people of the past, the Buddhists of the past, and what their expression was. What were their cultural expressions? What were their visual expressions? What were the ways that they wanted to show their understanding of the suttas and the practice? So I hope that it will be helpful and informative, and if folks will sign up for those when we get the registration open soon. Beautiful. So may our practice and its beautiful karmic unfolding benefit all beings, known and unknown, seen and unseen, all beings in all realms. May we all be free from mental and physical suffering. May we all realize compassion and absolute peace in our hearts and minds. By the power of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, and each one's efforts, may all beings be free. All right, friends. Wonderful to see you.